Dan Ullman, Mike Beer, race number 8 at Saratoga on Friday, the $100,000 Ali Dar Stakes. We are going 9 furlongs on the dirt. This race for horses aged 4-year-olds and up. It's one of several stakes at Saratoga on Friday. Get involved with a DRF Bets account. Sign up using the promo code HELLO and start playing. Here is the field for the Ali Dar. Again, 9 furlongs for older horses. You never know. We might get an entrant or two in the Woodward coming out of the Ali Dar. Todd Pletcher has liked this race in the past as a prep, and he has the number 1 Wooderson, Rachel Alexandra's little brother in this race. Looked like he was finally coming to hand with a couple of wins to kick off his 4-year-old campaign, and then just thrown to the wolves last time out in the Suburban. Does this horse have a little more upside to give?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he does. You know, it's probably too early to say that we've seen his best. I know that he was impressive with improved figures in his first 2 starts of the year, but boy, did he beat a couple of soft fields in those 2 races with perfect trips. They took on a tougher spot last time. He was absolutely no match for those horses. I think he's in tough again, Dan.
Thomas d'Etat has raced twice at Saratoga. He has blown them away both times. It has just been a very difficult task for trainer Al Stahl to keep this horse healthy and happy. He doesn't race very often. He's a 6-year-old. This is his 13th lifetime start. It appears Stahl has gotten him back into good form this year. I don't hold the Pegasus against him. I don't think he cared for the sloppy track that day. The Ali Sheba, he just ran into McKinsey, who's one of the best horses in the country. And last time out in the Stephen Foster, I'm interested in your take on this race. He did some work on the lead. He couldn't pass Quip, who was basically pressing him throughout. I just didn't think the inside was the place to be, and he was down on the rail all the way through the stretch. I think this horse doesn't need the lead to win. He can save ground under Rosario, and he finally gets a little class relief.
I agree. I just think he makes a ton of sense in this race. I think they're doing the right thing by running him here and not coming back in the Whitney on Saturday, which just feels like it's probably too tough for him. In this race, I think he's the horse to beat, Dan. He's come back off of the long layoff, and he's shown that he can still run. I thought he ran really well, too, back. He was no match for McKinsey, but I thought he was a very good second that day. He was just under constant pressure last time. He couldn't hold on at the end. It was still a good performance for him. I think if he runs one of his last 2 races, he's an absolute handful.
I've always been a little bit of a fan of the 3 Tour de Force. Rudy Rodriguez took him 62.5. He's given 3 bang-up efforts for Rudy, including a graded stakes placing. Blinkers go on here. This horse has a lot of speed. Now, I know that the horse down towards his inside, Thomas d'Etat's got big class and speed, but you got to think that Javier's going to be sending Tour de Force here.
Yeah, I think they'll try and get forward with him. I do think he's improved since Rudy's claimed him, Dan. I just don't think he's improved enough to go with horses like this. I mean, this is a really tough spot for him, and it's not like his last 3 races, as good as they are, really give him a huge chance in here, I don't think.
Formulator fact for Rodriguez, past 5 years, horses aged 4 and up, and races for horses aged 4 and up, adding Blinkers off a 45 to 60-day layoff on dirt, 27% winners, positive ROI. We now throw up the Timeform US Pace Projector, which has Tour de Force on the lead, but there is a red bar situation. I agree with that. I think the pace is going to be real solid in here and could work against Tour de Force as he steps up in class. Golden Brown has been a very underrated horse for a very underrated trainer. Remember that he won the Kent as a 3-year-old on turf, and ever since they gelded him over the winter, he's come back and he's gone 3 for 3, winning 1 on dirt and 2 against New Jersey breds at Monmouth. The question is he good enough to win a race like this? Because he's taking a big step up, but he'll try every time.
Yeah, he's probably a little bit of an underrated horse. I appreciate the good form that he's in, and I like each of his last 3 races just fine. I just feel like this is too tough a spot for him, Dan. There's some good horses in here.
American Tattoo expected to be part of the pace picture in this race. We saw his North American debut at Churchill Downs and were rather underwhelmed by that performance, but maybe he needed the race because next time out at Belmont, they stretched him out. He got close to the pace, and he kept right on going. Pletcher Formulator fact, past 4 years, horses 4 and up, last out winners, second off the layoff, non-graded stakes, dirt routes, 31% winners, positive ROI. He's outside of Tour de Force. He's going to be in a prime spot, but he's another one that needs a buyer boost as he steps up in class.
It'll be interesting to see what he does. He didn't run well in his North American debut, but he did have trouble at the start. He had a little excuse in that race. Last time, I thought he ran pretty well. I thought he took a pretty big step forward. He secured the rail. He was challenged by the 2 favorites in that race. He turned them away, and he kept clear in the stretch. Now, the 2 favorites were Twisted Tom and Proven Reserves, and they're not very good horses. He's facing way better horses in here. This horse is a little interesting, though. I think he could step forward again.
Carlino won over track and trip last summer at Saratoga. And if this thing comes apart, Carlino's going to be the one or one of the ones that's going to be running at the end of this race. In the Suburban, he was just overmatched. In the Pimlico Special off the long layoff, I mean, it looks like he was picking up horses. I just thought that pace fell apart and he was just kind of passing some tired ones in the lane. But Mark Henning hasn't been shy. He's run this horse in two tough spots to kick off his 5-year-old campaign. Give him some pace. He'll come with a kick. Maybe I'd use him underneath.
Yeah, he ran him those two tough spots after trying the Grade 1 Jockey Cup Gold Cup at the end of last year where he finished fourth. I mean, listen, he's going to be way out of it early. There could be pace for him to run at, though. And you know what? I actually like him going a mile and an eighth more than I like him going 10 or 11 for like. This is a better distance for him. We'll see how many horses he can pass in this stretch because you have to pass a lot.
Backyard Heaven exploded onto the scene last spring. Giant buyer effort at Aqueduct. Giant buyer effort winning the Grade 2 Ali Sheba. They ran him in the Stephen Foster. He was 4-5 on one of those just hot and humid nights at Churchill Downs. He didn't fire, and he went away after the Whitney, where he just didn't fire again. The Whitney was the concerning effort, although he emerged from the race with an ankle. He needed surgery. He's been away a long time. I just needed to see a little bit more last time out. I know it was his first start off a long layoff and a prep, but didn't you think in Chad's thinking, okay, we'll use the state dinner as a prep for the Whitney?
Maybe, yeah, that's pretty valid, actually. And now they come up here, so maybe it's not a great sign for him. At least, to me anyway, at least he showed some signs of life last time in the state dinner. I mean, he got a little bit tired at the end of that race and got out finished. But all in all, I didn't think it was a terrible performance. Maybe he can build off it, Dan. I'm not his biggest fan, and I kind of still feel like he has a lot to prove. And I don't think this is the easiest spot in the world either. So I'm against him, especially if he takes money. But I'm interested to see what he does.
Candy Graham's moving the right way for trainer Jimmy Jerkins, and I don't mind this outside post position. I think he can break. He can find a spot in the second flight off the lead, be in the clear, and really be in the thick of things turning into the stretch. He has just shown improvement this year for Jerkins, and as we see from this formulator fact, we might be able to expect more. Past 5 years in races for horses, 4 and up, second off the layoff, dirt routes, 16 for 44, 33 of 44 on the board, $2.32 ROI. You've always been a fan of this horse.
Yeah, Jerkins is great stretching horses. You don't have to worry about that. He's obviously in very good form right now. It's worth noting that the first time Jerkins ever stretched this horse out, he won. And then when they ran him at this distance, 3 starts back, he won again. He got loose on the lead in both of those races. That is not happening here. This is a way tougher spot. This horse is pretty good, though, and he's really improved this year. He's dangerous in here.
Can you make the argument that You're to Blame's the best pure closer in this race? And if there is a true barbecue up front, he's the horse that will directly take advantage and end up in the winner's circle. He goes out for Pletcher, who's run him 3 times this year. Nice score in his seasonal debut. Pimlico Special race came apart. He was right there. What happened in the Brooklyn? Was it just simply a situation where, again, he wasn't on the rail and his stablemate had a better trip than he did? He only got beat a length.
Yeah, I thought he ran okay in that race. They put him right up on the pace and there outside of Marconi, but he was outside of Marconi, who had the good rail, and he just couldn't get by that horse. I thought he ran fine. I don't mind them cutting back to a mile and an eighth for him in this race. I think he will run at the end. And I actually liked his Pimlico Special quite a bit. I thought he ran really well in there. I almost put him on top, Dan. I wound up not doing it. I'm definitely using this horse, though.
Here is the Pletcher formulator fact for You're to Blame. 32% winners, 14 of 19 on the board, with 4 and up dirt routers coming off 45 to 60-day layoffs in non-graded stakes. Pick time for the Alydar. We both think Tom's d'Etat, if he shows up with his A race, is supposed to win. Are you concerned about the pace scenario, or do you think Joel can get him to relax in behind what should be an honest pace?
Yeah, I think he should get an okay trip in this race. We'll see how it all plays out. He doesn't need the lead to be effective. They'll be up close, maybe without making the front. I went 2, 9, and 8 in this race. They're the 3 that I prefer by a pretty clear margin over the rest.
I want Tom's d'Etat. I want Candy Graham. Those are the 2 horses I want in the $100,000 Alydar, one of 3 stakes races at Saratoga on Friday. Sign up with that DRF Bets account. Use that promo code HELLO and start playing away with DRF Bets. Approximate post time for the Alydar, 5:15 Eastern. Good luck.